That pair of jeans your dad wore for 20 years without a single rip? Same brand, same model, same price tag. Falls apart in 6 months now. This isn't bad luck. This isn't you washing them wrong. This is 8 jean brands that quietly cut corners, killed their factories, and gutted the quality your dad trusted while keeping the same logo on the back pocket. Some of these names filed for bankruptcy. Some moved production overseas and prayed nobody noticed. One went from $300 status symbol to Kohl's clearance rack. Today, we're ranking the 8 worst offenders from bad to absolute disaster. So, stick around till number 1, because the brand that earned the top spot, your dad probably still has a pair in his closet. Number 8. Wrangler. Let's kick this off with the brand built on a cowboy's back. Wrangler. The jean your dad wore to fix the fence, work the ranch, and pass down to you because they don't make them like this anymore. Turns out he was right. They literally don't. Pull up Wrangler's Retro Slim Straight on Walmart right now. 1,132 reviews sitting at a humiliating 3.1 stars. And the complaint stitched into nearly every low-rated pair tells the exact same story. Back pockets ripping, seams tearing, holes punching through the knees inside a few months of normal wear, zippers breaking after a handful of uses, customers buying jeans for 1/3 the price and getting twice the lifespan out of them. Then flip the tag. The cowboy workwear that built this brand was 100% cotton. Heavy. Honest. Now, 98% cotton, 2% elastane. They snuck stretch into the workwear jean. Your grandfather is rolling in his grave. And here's the part the marketing won't tell you. Wrangler is now owned by Contour Brands, the same parent company that owns Lee. Same boardroom, same cost-cutting playbook, same race to the bottom. You're not buying workwear anymore. You're buying a costume. Number 7. Lee. Wrangler's twin brother in the boardroom. Wrangler's twin brother in the betrayal too. For 130 years, Lee was the working man's denim. Coal miners wore them. Soldiers stationed across Europe in World War II wore them. James Dean wore them. Your grandfather almost certainly wore them. And for most of that history, a pair of Lees outlasted the man buying them. Now, the brand is bleeding loyalists by the month. 2-decade-long customers are publicly walking away. The complaints are no longer scattered. They're a pattern. Denim so thin it barely survives a single wash before crumpling like cheap paper. Seams that curve sideways down the leg because the stitching can't hold a straight line anymore. Warranty claims getting buried under a month of silence before being denied without a refund. The Brooklyn fit, once the brand's flagship workhorse, now arrives with stretch baked into it. You order jeans, you get leggings with a logo. The heavyweight denim that defined Lee for over a century has been swapped for the lightest cotton blend the supply chain will allow. Lee shares ownership with Wrangler under Contour Brands. Same parent, same playbook, same quiet hollowing out of 2 American legends in the name of shareholder margins. Your dad's Lee jeans lasted 15 years. Yours might not survive Christmas dinner. Number 6. Lucky Brand. 2 guys started Lucky Brand in 1990 with a wild idea. Make American jeans in American factories that fit better than Levi's and cost less than designer. For a while, it actually worked. The Lucky U stitched on the inside of the fly button became one of the most copied flexes in the 90s. Celebrities wore them. Magazines featured them. The whole personality of the brand was rugged Americana with a wink, the kind of thing that felt premium without trying. Then, the music stopped. In 2014, Lucky was sold off in a private equity deal. The new owners did exactly what private equity always does. Cut costs, slash margins. Squeeze the brand until there's nothing left to squeeze. Manufacturing got shipped overseas. The Made in USA reputation, the entire soul of the company, was quietly buried in a footnote. Then 2020 hit and the death certificate was made official. Lucky Brand filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The company that once charged $130 for a pair of premium American jeans is now sitting next to discount toilet paper at Costco, department store clearance racks, permanent 60% off banners. A brand that used to feel like a secret handshake now feels like the participation trophy of the denim aisle. The Lucky U button is still there. The luck ran out a decade ago. Number 5. Levi's. Okay, take a deep breath. This is the one that's going to hurt. If denim has a Mount Rushmore, Levi's is the first face carved into the rock. Invented the modern jean in 1873. Outfitted gold miners, factory workers, James Dean, Marlon Brando, every cultural icon who ever rolled up a cuff. For 130 years, Levi's 501 was shorthand for the most reliable pair of pants on the planet. So what happened? 2003. That's the year Levi's quietly shut down its last remaining American factory. The denim that once came stitched in San Antonio, San Francisco, El Paso, all of it gone. Production moved to Bangladesh, China, Vietnam, Mexico. Around the same time, the brand swapped to a lower-grade cotton to keep margins healthy as labor costs vanished overseas. The result? A 501 you buy today is a completely different animal from the one your dad bought before the millennium. Thinner fabric, looser stitching, knees blowing out inside 6 to 8 months of normal wear, fit charts that drift from year to year because the cuts keep changing without anyone admitting it. Walk into any vintage menswear forum and you'll find guys hunting eBay for 90s Levi's with Made in USA tags, paying triple the retail price for jeans that came out of a factory 3 decades ago, because those ones still going strong. The logo survived, the legend didn't. Number 4, 7 for all mankind. Welcome to the part of the list where we stop talking about your dad's workwear and start talking about your dad's midlife crisis purchases. 7 for all mankind launched in 2000 and basically invented the designer denim category as we know it. Before 7s, jeans over $100 didn't really exist as a mainstream idea. By 2005, this brand was charging $200 a pair, sitting on every celebrity's hip and stocked behind glass at Nordstrom like it was jewelry. Then the wheels came off. The Denim Experts on Style Forum, the same forum where guys debate the weave of selvage cotton for sport, started reporting their 7s were falling apart inside 6 months. One labeled them flat out the worst designer denim brand they'd ever spent money on. Stitching coming undone, pocket bags shredding, washes that looked premium in the store and turned blotchy and uneven after 3 machine cycles. The brand got sold, then sold again. VF Corporation picked it up. Delta Galil eventually grabbed the leftovers. Each owner squeezed a little more margin out of the name. Each new contract cheapened the cotton, the labor, the construction. Today you'll find 7 stacked at Nordstrom Rack for $99, sitting next to other faded designer names, hoping somebody still remembers them. $200 bought you status in 2005. Today that same pair gets returned to the outlet bin and quietly forgotten. The hype died, the price tag didn't. Number 3, Diesel. Renzo Rosso didn't just build a jeans brand. He built a religion. Founded in Italy in 1978, Diesel spent the 90s and early 2000s being the coolest piece of fabric on the planet. The brand that didn't care what you thought of it. The brand that ran shock value ad campaigns featuring nuns kissing sailors and chimpanzees in business suits. The brand that turned a 5-pocket pair of jeans into a $250 cultural flex. If you owned a pair of Diesels in 2004, you were untouchable. Then the world moved on. By the late 2000s, the bold logos, the aggressive washes, the over-distressed denim that defined Diesel had become the visual punchline for everything wrong with Y2K excess. Sales collapsed. The brand was paying premium rent on flagship stores that were no longer pulling premium customers. March 2019, Diesel USA filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The court documents pinned the blame on a doomed real estate strategy and plummeting demand. The Italian darling of designer denim was now a company in restructuring, slashing stores, cutting staff, and praying for relevance. A creative director swap in 2020 brought a partial comeback for the runway version. The jeans your dad actually owned, the bootcut washes, the wide leg larkies, the chunky black logo waistbands, those were buried a long time ago. Diesel sold rebellion, then forgot how to make jeans worth rebelling in. Number 2, True Religion. For 36 months between 2005 and 2008, this brand wasn't selling jeans. It was selling a personality. You didn't wear True Religion, you announced True Religion. That thick yellow horseshoe stitching on the back pocket was visible from 3 lanes over in highway traffic. It told everyone in a 50-foot radius that your pants cost $300, and that information was non-negotiable. The Black Eyed Peas dropped the brand name into My Humps alongside 7 jeans. Kanye wore them, Britney wore them. Every NBA player walking into a tunnel post-game wore them. Spotting that horseshoe on someone's hip wasn't fashion observation. It was social ranking. They had money. You knew it. They knew you knew it. Then 2013 showed up and pulled the rug out. Skinny jeans took over. Logomania died. The same horseshoe that screamed "I made it" in 2007 started screaming "I peaked in 2007." Sales collapsed faster than the brand's executives could blink. 2017, first bankruptcy filing, restructured, promised a comeback. 3 years later, 2020, second bankruptcy filing. 2 bankruptcies before a kid born during their peak even hit puberty. The brand still technically exists. You'll find it in outlet malls, licensing deals, and bargain bins at TJ Maxx. The horseshoe is still stitched on the back pocket. It just stopped meaning anything. Wear True Religion in 2026 and the message has fully reversed. The same logo that once screamed "I'm flexing" now whispers "I'm stuck." It became the denim equivalent of using a flip phone in public. Loyalists openly say the brand needs to vanish for 20 years before it can ever be cool again. The horseshoe didn't break, it just stopped being lucky. Number 1, E.D. Hardy. Picture a jean covered in tigers. Now add rhinestones. Now add a flaming skull dripping down the back pocket. Now add a koi fish. Now add the year 2008 stitched into the cultural memory of every man who ever bought a pair. You've just pictured Ed Hardy, and you're already cringing. Most brands on this list collapsed because of bad business decisions, bankruptcies, outsourcing, boardroom greed. Ed Hardy is different. Ed Hardy is the only brand on this list that destroyed itself purely through fashion crimes against humanity. The artist behind the name Don Ed Hardy was a genuinely respected American tattooer with decades of credibility. Then a French designer named Christian Audigier got the licensing rights in 2004 and proceeded to print that tattoo art onto every surface a human being could legally wear. Jeans, hoodies, trucker hats, energy drinks, cologne, air fresheners hanging from rear view mirrors. Nothing was sacred. Nothing was spared. A pair of his jeans cost $200, sometimes $300, sometimes more if they had enough Swarovski crystals glued onto them to qualify as a chandelier with leg holes. Who bought them? John Gosselin, the Jersey Shore cast. Every man who showed up to a club in 2008 with frosted tips, a goatee, and 3 Red Bulls in his system. Ed Hardy wasn't fashion. It was a personality test, and everyone failed. By 2011, the joke was over. Wearing Ed Hardy in public stopped being a style and started being a public service announcement about your taste. Audigier himself eventually admitted he killed his own brand through pure licensing greed. He didn't just sell out, he strip-mined the name until there was nothing left worth wearing. Don Ed Hardy makes incredible tattoos. The jeans? A war crime in denim. So guys, there you have it. 8 brands your dad trusted with his money, his closet, and sometimes his entire identity. Brands that built reputations across decades and threw it all away inside a single business quarter. Wrangler stretched its way out of workwear. Lee crumpled into paper. Lucky Brand sold its soul to Costco. Levi's closed its last American factory in silence. 7 for All Mankind got passed around like a hot potato. Diesel filed for bankruptcy. True Religion filed for bankruptcy twice. And Ed Hardy didn't even need a bankruptcy filing to become a punchline. The pattern is the same across every name on this list. Cut the cotton, move the factory, cheapen the stitching, keep the logo. Hope nobody notices. Well, we notice. Next time you're standing in a fitting room holding a pair of jeans, flip the tag. Check where it was made. Feel the weight of the denim. Ask yourself one question. Am I buying jeans or am I buying a name that gave up trying years ago? Now do me a favor. Drop the brand that betrayed you the hardest in the comments. The one pair you bought thinking they'd last forever and watched fall apart in front of your eyes. We're reading every single one. And if this video saved you from one bad purchase, smash that subscribe button. We expose the brands that have been fooling you for decades. See you in the next one.